If the objective is to have strong convictions that make us be there for the people that we care about, for the people we love, then difficulties and challenges are not a problem. In fact, they're just what we need to become strong, and they're just what we need to become dependable. They're just what we need to have that attitude of I will not quit. There is a character in the movie Dunkirk that I think exemplifies this, at least in my mind. It's a movie that came out a couple years ago about the retreat of the Allied forces from continental Europe and France across the English Channel back into Great Britain. So basically, Germany is advancing and all the Allied troops are there accumulated on the shore in France. And so they're very vulnerable, and there aren't enough ships to take them across the channel into England, and so they're just there waiting. Basically, they're very vulnerable, and you have these German pilots that are kind of flying above and attacking them. And so you have a few English fighters that are there trying to defend their troops on the ground. And so the movie centers on one of these pilots. I don't even know what his name was, but his what he did kind of struck me, and I thought it was a good example of never quitting and also magnanimity, fortitude, a lot of things. But the situation was this: troops are on the ground. This pilot is flying over, and he's running out of fuel, and he knows that he's going to need a certain amount of fuel to get back to England. But while he's there defending his troops, there are no other fighters that are there to kind of replace him. So he knows that if he leaves, his troops are just completely exposed. And so it's a question of time, because these troops are there slowly being carried away by vessels coming across the channel. So every second that he's there to protect his troops means lives that are being saved. And so you can tell that he's deliberating. He's looking at his instrument panel, and there you have the fuel gauge, and it's constantly getting lower and lower and lower. And then you can see that there's a switch which enables him to tap into his reserve fuel tank. And so you know that he needs that tank to get back to England if he's going to get back. But at a certain point, you see this kind of back and forth going on in his mind. You can just tell it from the expression on his face. And he lifts up his finger, and in a very significant gesture, he flicks that switch to the reserve tank, and then he proceeds to storm after some German pilot. And with that, you can tell, with that little swipe of the finger, he basically is saying, I'm all in, right? So in a certain sense, that little swipe of the finger brought to light that conviction that he had in his heart is, I am going to give myself completely for my country and for my fellow soldiers. So in the end, this pilot, he ended up running out of gas, and he had to land on the beach there in France, and then he was captured by German soldiers. So once again, I think also an example of a man saying, my life is for the others. So never quit. With these ideas, I think we're more capable of understanding the virtue of fortitude. Never quitting is not the same thing as fortitude, right? But I think it's a fundamental piece of it.